and we're just waiting for Sam.
Sam and Kelly.
Sam.
Oh, this is so interesting. Okay. Yeah. So this is perfect. So exciting.
Oh, who's jamming in the back? What's this music right here? This is nice.
Do we have a soundtrack?
I'm not playing music.
You're not?
Okay, let's see. There's Luke. Here's
Okay.
Luke. Hey, Luke.
How are you all?
Good. How are you?
Doing well, doing well.
Oh, good. That's cool.
Sometimes it gets in the way if I actually like place the camera here. It's like mostly in my face. Oh, it's not that. Yeah, see, it's not great.
It's not too bad.
So we're gonna keep it like this for tonight.
Okay, and I guess we just need Sam. Do you think? There's Sam. Yes, and then Kelly, and we can. Oh gosh, I hope she comes soon. That'd be great. Hi, everybody. You can like say hello to everybody.
What's going on? How's everybody doing?
What's up? What's up? Good. Oh, geez.
This is like an experience.
That's how I describe everything, like an experience. You know, going to the DMV, an experience. Hello.
There we go.
There we go.
Everybody's in.
This is great. Hi, everybody. You can like say hello to everybody. Right.
What's going on?
Uh-oh.
Is that a little replay?
Sorry. A little bit. Oh,
Okay.
Is this Kelly?
Yes, it is.
Hey, Kelly. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. So I'm going to be hello, everybody. Hello, world. My name is Christine, and I'm the sort of chief ninja for itsashort.com. And tonight we are so excited. I know everybody's just seen these wonderful short films by Zanah Thirus that were in our premium lounge. And now we're going to have our live talk back with Zanah and members of her cast and crew from those short. And I'm and we're also, our host tonight is Luke Akers, and Luke, and very well known commercial filmmaker who is going to be our moderator and who's going to ask all the cool questions. Thank you, Luke.
Sounds good.
Okay, go ahead, Luke.
All right, so my name's Luke Aker. I am most well known for a viral video I did way back in 2013 for a really an excellent car I had, a Nissan Maxima, and it went viral. And then Nissan USA purchased it directly from me via Twitter. So I could say I guess I'm more of a salesman than I am a director, because I sold a 20-year-old used car back to the manufacturer.
Nice.
And that's about the most notable thing. I now work in commercial. I do a bunch of sizzle reels for corporate. I do short films on the side when I can. I know everyone here definitely knows how difficult that is, and how much time it puts into it. So I've got a lot of respect for someone that has done 3 of these. So I read, I was like 3. I was like, oh, that's stress, and more stress, but it's worth it. So so going on here, we're gonna speak with I guess what we'll do now is we're gonna just introduce all of us here and tell us your role and what you did. And Zanah, if it's okay, we start with you. That would be spectacular.
Well, just to start, it's Zanah.
Zanah, I'm so sorry. So sorry.
No one ever gets my name right on the first try, ever. Like it's totally fine.
I mean, I did, but that's fine.
He's like, excuse me. Yeah. Excuse me. Don't put me in that category. I'm not that bad. Okay.
So I'm Zanah. So out of the 3 films, Mima, I was one of 2 producers. I wrote it, directed it, edited it, and was in it. Demons, I produced it, wrote it, edited that film, was also in it. And then Hourglass, I wrote, produced, and directed.
Ooh. Oh my gosh. That's wild.
Amazing.
And I guess we'll go to Blake next.
Okay. Yeah, I'm the cinematographer for Mima. Yeah, that was basically my role for that one right there. I might have thrown some ideas around here and there, but that's basically it. So.
No, it was phenomenal. We'll get into the cinematography for me, Mom, because that's a whole
No
thing.
need, no need. I'm just here. I'm just here for
Oh,
everyone.
we'll get to you, Blake. Don't you worry. You know, I'm going to start asking you what kind of camera you shot it on, you know?
Oh, yeah.
You know, because that's the important part, right?
That's important. That's very important.
And Christine, how about you? Uh-oh, can she hear me? Christine? I don't think she can hear me either. Was it I'm gonna mispronounce another name. Markel? Was it Markel?
Oh my gosh, that's so correct.
Oh, thank God. Woo! I'm so sorry. I messed that one up.
I had her name wrong the first time, so no worries.
All right, so I'm 1-0 here. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the executive producer on this. We just kind of met and everything fell into place. So I was able to provide all the locations and yeah.
Oh, wow. All right. And was it Sam?
Yeah, pronounced it correct.
Oh, that's
right.
Good. If I had messed up that one, I would have had to just resign and have somebody else do this.
Okay, that's enough.
No, yeah, I was the editor for Hourglass, so super grateful to work with Zanah. She worked. I was like we worked in one previous project together that I believe you were the producer on.
Yeah.
The Wonderful with Pat Montalvo as the director. And then yeah, it was an awesome time. And yeah, just had a lot of collaborating with our sound mixer on that as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, thank you all for introducing yourselves. I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about the three films and would love to ask Zanah a couple questions along with Blake, Markel, and Sam. Just overall, Zanah, I'd like to start with you. What would you say, especially on Mima, is that coming from a personal, like a personal thing that you did? Was that how was that inspired? Like, tell me a little bit about that.
Well, everybody always asks me this question. They're like, "Is this your story?" It's not, but it is. My grandfather, one thing he said that stood out to me was that he never thought that he would live long enough to see his great-grandchild. And that really stuck with me because I'm thinking we all have people that have been a part of our lives since day one, like grandparents, who our children or our children's children may never get to meet. And that's where that whole concept just came from. I wrote Mima like in the middle of the night, just because it was something I couldn't get out of my head. And I wanted to put that into script form. So when I originally wrote it, I did a grid script and it was 2 columns. One was visual, one was audio, because I knew I wanted this to be narrated. But I also knew that I wanted it to be 2 different cameras that we used. So the video camera was such a focal point of this story. And so I wanted us to showcase what we were actually going to be seeing from Jesse's perspective and then watching that happen like in real time. So, yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, you know, what was that part? You know, a lot of filmmakers decide, hey, I want to shoot this on, you know, some fancy camera. But I loved the fact that you did use that almost like a home video effect. Obviously you're trying to get that, but where was the point at which you went, I want to definitely use that? Like, I want to make it feel like more real, because that definitely grounded the piece. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I had the camera. And I used it for some of my documentary projects. So it was pretty easy to like wiggle that in as a significant part of the film. And just also because we know, you know, our grandparents through home video, through old film, old photos, like that's how we keep those memories alive. So I thought it was a great way to make it a lot more authentic as well.
Oh, very cool. So this is going to be an ensemble question here, and try to keep it to, you know, give me one sentence about each. But what, in your opinion, about, you know, if you've, you know, made you and Zanah, this is a little bit more for you, especially these things. Like, what's the best? And you can give me 3 answers for this one. What was the best and worst part for you in making these projects?
For Mima, I would say, honestly, no joke, like meeting Kelly and Blake. And like how that started, I met Kelly. I lived in Atlanta all last year. I spent a year in Atlanta, and out of the 14 films that I've done, most of them have been shot in Chicago. Atlanta, Mima was the first film that I ever did in Atlanta. And when I got there, I taught a micro-budget film workshop, and that's where I met Kelly. And after the class, she came up to me, and she's, like, well-versed in producing, directing, like she does this as well. And she's like, well, yeah, like if you're ever working on any projects, like, I'd love to collab, and I have a lot of resources, so let's do something. And I'm like, okay. And so we went to brunch. Like, what was it? Like the next weekend?
Yeah.
It was like really soon after. And we were talking about our projects, and I brought up the script, and she was like, yeah, okay, well, I have this, I have that, I have this, I have that. She had access to like 90% of my script. She was able to like take what would have been a 5-figure budget production down to like $800, which was the total spend on this film.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So honestly, meeting Kelly, because she's also a Coach's actor, so she was the one who cast our lead actress, Judith, who went on to be nominated for Best Actress at the Black Film Fest of New Orleans from this film. So meeting Kelly was one of the best parts of Mima, and then also meeting Blake. I met Blake at the Screening Room Atlanta, which is it's a bi-monthly screening event that happens for indie filmmakers, and I screened my film and he screened his film, and we're like, we have to work on something.
Very true. Very true.
What? But we have to work on something. And it was so crazy. Having someone who was well-versed in production, and then also someone I could hand this really complicated layered script to. And every single shot Blake just got like right off the bat. While I'm focusing on, directing and producing and that kind of stuff, I look at what's on the camera, what's on, what's being captured, and I'm like, this is exactly what I wanted, from framing, from lighting, like this. And they made this project seamless. So they were the best part of like this project. Worst part, I don't have a worst part of Mima. It came together so well, it was kind of scary, honestly. I'll keep these next ones short. For Hourglass, working with Sam was really awesome because Sam was actually on set for Hourglass, and this was such a benefit to have the editor present on set, and working with two the actors were, one was a model, Aziz was a model, or is a model, and Kimberly is really good at improv. And so this was non-scripted, and I would just give them scenarios and they'd run with it. And so a lot of times they were on set being really silly, even though it's a really kind of somber film. I was really, really shocked at how Sam was able to take like the very delicate moments out of their silliness and put that together. And that was my first experimental film. It was my second film I ever did. So working with Sam was what really made it come all together.
Thank you. Yeah, they were super giggly. I remember it was just like a very like happy set, despite it was such a serious film. But yeah, they were super good.
Yeah, and it was also like I was nervous about the edit because I'm like, they're laughing the whole time. Like, there's gonna be like jokes, but it came together really great. And then for Demons, that crew was phenomenal. I really loved working with a co-producer that was also a DP because he knew a lot of crew. And then working with Chan, who directed it. She was a director who was really, she cared about the actors because they were really heavy performances. So when in between takes, she would ask an actor if they needed a hug or if they needed to take a moment. Like, she was very cognizant of how to take care of the actors, and that was great. I would say a downside to Demons, that was my most expensive production. And knowing what I know now as a micro-budget filmmaker, I would have chopped that budget in half if I did it over again.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that was a very long 3
It
sentences.
was. He said a sentence, but we gonna let you have it.
I went into like a dissertation.
That's so good. That's good. Yeah, you know what? You know, you have so much invested in each film. I think it's good that you had a lot to say about each. If you didn't, I'd be a little concerned. So Blake, do you have a best and worst from this project?
Oh yeah, definitely. The worst, man, was just honestly, like, let's talk about that real quick. No,
Well, maybe not the worst.
flip.
Maybe just,
We'll flip.
when you're making films, there's always stress, always
Yeah.
stress. And so maybe
Yeah.
that's really what I'm asking. I'm not asking worse because like that's a bad way of saying that because there really isn't a worst part. We're making films here.
We're
Like
making
there's no bad
films.
part about that, but there is stress, and there's a
Exactly.
moment where you're like, can we solve this problem?
Yeah, there was with Mima, there was an issue with like the camera. We weren't sure exactly if we're gonna have the camera that we needed on set. So the days prior, I was kind of like, are we just maybe we just do the whole thing with the JVC? Like we could just like run with the Handycam and we'll be good, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, we ended up getting it, of course, and everything worked out fine. But which goes into the best part was how quickly we got everything together, all our scenes, the dialogue, like as minimal as it is, but I mean, we ended up like saving hours of time
Like 3 hours early each day.
each day because of some awesome producing and directing.
Dude,
So
that's
yeah,
amazing.
it was fantastic, and we had a great time.
Yeah, and
Mostly.
just for people watching who may not have intimate knowledge of film sets, for someone to get, usually it's a 10 to 12 hour day, for someone to say they finished 3 hours early is a monumental achievement, and you cannot stress that enough. Usually it's, especially on these micro budget films, it's, hey guys, can you stay another 3 or 4 hours after this, please?
Like,
Instead of
we
get
might
to go
have pizza
home
later.
early. Exactly.
Yeah.
And Kelly, how about you? What would you say was the best opportunity to problem solve and the best moment that you felt you had when making this?
Sorry, my dog is asking for attention. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think, the best thing was that it just all came together so easily. It was just like everything happened the way it was supposed to. And I mean, I was amazed that it did go by so quickly. We were like, oh, we're done. Okay, I guess we're finished.
Yeah. Was that martini shot? I guess it was.
Yeah,
okay. It's noon. All right. I guess I got the whole day. Yeah.
That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like when you get done 3 hours early.
Yeah.
I know. Just like the simplicity of it, and it all worked out. I had literally just finished one of my own films that I produced and directed, and it basically was everything that Zanah also needed. So it worked out really, really well. Yeah, there is no bad thing.
That's great. And again, it's, I used worst, and really what I meant was like there's like I said, there's frustrating moments every time you make a film. So worst was a bad way to say that. So if there's a moment that you say, oh, this was stressful, but it sounds like that shoot, if you're saying 3 hours early, that's there's little to say that you had frustrations on that. Yeah. Sam, how about you? You've worked on multiple projects. Like what for you was obviously you got to be on set for Hourglass. Is that right? Is that Hourglass?
Yeah. Yeah.
Were you on set for Mima as well, or was that?
No. So I was not a part of that.
Not a part of Mima. So you were part of Hourglass.
Yeah, just
Hourglass.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So tell me about that experience, because it's very rare for an editor to be on set for MicroBudget. So you mentioned how cool that was.
I love it. I mean, any opportunity that I can get to go on set, I'll take it. Yeah, especially if I get the opportunity to like DIT or kind of be the intermediary between the camera department, just to get a head start on post, because there are certain like things you pick up on set that you wouldn't get if you were like totally removed, just being behind the camera. For instance, like certain decisions that Zanah was making with the camera, like determining, you're basically able to put the edit in, your head before you kind of start doing it. And I think it gets you a little further ahead of the process. But for Hourglass, it was super fun. Like just the lightest crew. I think it was just the cameraman, right? I don't remember. There was just
it was
the
only 5 of us on set.
Yeah, it was super fun.
Yeah, it was
great crew.
Yeah, it was Sam, the editor, me producing, directing, and Kevin was our cinematographer, and then the 2 actors. That was literally it. And was shot in Chicago, where me and Sam are, and then Mima was shot in Atlanta, where Kelly and Blake are. So, and they happened 3 years apart. 3 years apart.
Yeah. And it was cool. I think like whenever you work on experimental projects, it's kind of like, I would say the benefit, and also it makes it a little more of an interesting journey along the edit, because you're kind of like making it up as you go. And I use this symbolism a lot when I'm describing editing, but it's like you are looking at a puzzle and you don't really know what it makes yet, but you're kind of like figuring out where the pieces go as you go. And it's very much like that for experimental projects, kind of coming up with ideas of like, oh, maybe we'll play the footage in reverse at the end to kind of tie in this whole hourglass ticking down, symbolism and the themes of that being tied in. So that was like really cool project, or cool part of the project. And then biggest challenge is I was in school at the time. So I was like balancing, and I was super stoked on working on this project. And then it was like, looking at my school projects, I was kind of made me less eager to work on them because it was just so fun working on Hourglass.
That's great.
Well,
Sam,
so
I hate to cut you off, but I want to be able to move on. I don't have too much extra time here. I want to ask one more question of each member of the crew real fast, if you can. And I know this is going to be the most difficult question I ask you tonight. Favorite movie?
Oh man.
Like,
if you can get it within the top 10, one of your top 10s. How about one of your top 100s? Well, I know mine right off the bat. It's probably one of my favorite movies of all time. It's The Fugitive, starring Harrison Ford. I think it's an excellent film. Probably, I would say, closest to one of the most flawless films I've ever seen. And also, bonus, it takes place in Chicago, where I currently am. So, just love that movie.
Very good. Kelly, how about you? Oh, Zanah. Sorry, for some reason the audio cut out.
One of my favorites. I won't say the favorite, but I always look at films from a production perspective, and I really appreciate The Breakfast Club, because that was an ensemble cast, primarily taking place in one location, like that kind of thing. And it shows that you could have so much incredible storytelling with a minimal budget. That stood out to me, and the characters really like drove that story. So I appreciate The Breakfast Club for that reason.
I love that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Blake, how about you?
I'm gonna say top 10 would be Grand Budapest Hotel, Wes Anderson.
Wes Anderson.
That's my jam. Just like, I love the writing style, the pacing, the color scheme, all the tones that they've used throughout the film. I thought was like just amazing. Like, it blew me away. And then I ended up doing a thesis on him in college. So
nice.
There you go.
Well, there you go. Kelly, how about you?
I'd say Social Network.
Oh, Fincher.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm a huge fan of, I loved the whole idea. I loved the way it was shot. I loved the pacing. It's just and I'm a big fan of Aaron Sorkin. I'm pretty sure he wrote that. So.
Yes. Yeah. He did. It was Aaron Sorkin. Because he also didn't he write
West Wing?
Yeah.
So he's one of my favorite writers.
He's got a knack for that back and forth, banter for sure.
Fast-paced stuff. It's my favorite.
That's great. I've lost the document that I needed to move on from here. We've got let's see.
Take your time. We're just here. Water?
What do we have?
Everybody got water? Everybody good?
Hydrated over here.
While I look for this, give me one more thing, Zanah. There's people watching that want to become they want to become a director. What's the best piece of advice that you can give, that from the obviously like 10 or 15 things that you've done? What's the best piece of advice you can give first to someone who's starting out?
I don't know that I have advice as a director. I have advice as a producer, and that's to start small.
Mhm.
I think people they write scripts that have $100,000 budgets and car chases and mansions in the opening scene, and it's like you don't have for that. And crowdfunding is pretty much just asking strangers to give you money to make movies, and that's hard to do. So, you know, Hourglass took place in one location with 2 characters. Hourglass was $100 budget. You know, like it's think small and write scripts according to the resources you immediately have available to you, and to also collaborate across the board. You know, work with filmmakers who want to build their portfolios as you want to build your portfolio.
Right.
And that's the initial advice. Don't prioritize the creative and neglect the logistics and the realities of that. So if people are like, oh, I want to direct, it's like let's think about the production first. That's the advice that I have.
Yeah. And just to add on to that, like still like dream big. Like if you have a story that you really want to tell, write it and rewrite it and make sure it's perfect. So when you are ready, when you have those finances available, then you have something already to show whoever you're with. But in the meantime, whoever's starting out, definitely like write what you know and write small. Yeah, completely agree.
And building your portfolio with smaller projects makes it easier to pitch bigger ones. Just to even, you know, piggyback off of that. To have work.
Are we piggybacking off of piggyback? Okay.
But it just makes it easier to, you know, you have to master the little leagues before you master the big leagues.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Callie, any advice for young filmmakers?
Have a solution to every problem.
Can you tell me a little bit about maybe your decision? Like how do you approach solving those problems on set a certain way, or what do you think?
I think one of my gifts is also problem solving. So I think of everything kind of as a puzzle, and I don't think no is real. Honestly, I mean, I just think there's a different avenue to go down. You might not get exactly what you want, but I think, you know, one of the reasons I loved, you know, working with Zanah and Blake is like, we might not be able to do this, but we can do this. And it does the exact same thing. So I mean, personally, I would say like, yeah, don't give up. If one script isn't working, try something else. There's always a way. There really is. I mean, yeah, you might not be able to do a shoot on the moon. However, be creative. I think that's what's so fun is like, yeah, that's what makes indie filmmaking so interesting is because you don't have a whole bunch of money. So you get to be more creative. How can I make this work? How can I make this stand out? It makes your brain work more.
Yeah.
That's great. Sam, how about you? You're an editor. I'm sure your job is, you know, whereas you've got vision from Zanah and you've got logistics and problem solving from Kelly. You know, you're given these things and you're essentially given a lot of great stuff, and then you gotta. Honestly, they say that it's written once before you shoot, it's written again, and then the editor, it's rewritten a third time in the editing room. And you've worked with Zanah. Do you have a process for problem solving any of those issues that you may run into in the edit room? Or, and if you do have advice, you know, what type of advice would you give for a new filmmaker?
Yeah, definitely. I would say my sort of style in editing is on the more collaborative side. So I try to involve people in the process as much as possible because they do have a lot of, you know, creative input and they have a lot of personal investment in the project. And so kind of making sure that you're tapping into the right people along the way. And, you know, you're not like executing a vision that you're not really sure of, and, you know, keeping all those things in mind, like the timeline, and just making sure you're paying attention to the right things at the right time, I think is important. And it also comes with time too. I think at the time I was still like a pretty evergreen editor, and looking back on it, there's definitely some things that I would have done differently, but very fortunate like for the experience. And as far as the tips for new filmmakers, I would say don't be afraid to fail and don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yes.
Like a recent quote that I've seen online that's like, you're not failing if you give up, it's just like another trial and error. You know, you're only really failing if you stop trying. And, you know, it's okay to redo entire projects, even if you're not really feeling them. Or I think certain people kind of get holed up and, you know, they're kind of getting down on themselves. But I think as long as they keep trying and keep going at it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate all the tips that you gave tonight. I just want, in closing, I just want to let you guys know that actually one more thing for Zanah. Zanah, you know, you've got these 3 projects under your belt. What are you working on next? What do you've got? What have you got for us in the pipeline?
Yeah, well, Mima was my 14th film. And
Wow.
so this year, I am grateful to be at a point where I'm not actually looking to stock my portfolio up with projects. I'm focusing on distribution. I'm in production for a feature doc. I'm in production for a animated short, and in production for a narrative project. I'm focusing on distribution. I'm in production for.
I'm getting feedback.
A
little echo.
Okay.
Oh, is it gone? There it goes.
There we go. So yeah, so I'm in production for 3 projects this year, and I'm really loving being able to take my time on these projects. So it's
well deserved.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I think I went from, because I started filmmaking in 2015, and that was really from 2015 to the end of 2019. It was really building, and collaborating, and all those things. Now I can really iron out, you know, the process and like I said, take time. So this year I'm really focused on honing in on my craft and taking my time on these 3 projects.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, thank you so much, all of you, for being here. Just want to let you guys know out there that Zanah's work can be seen on It's a Short, this platform, It's a Short. In the Premiere Lounge is where you're going to find that. These shorts can be seen every night starting at 8 p.m. Central Time for the next 2 weeks. Highly recommend it. And again, thank you for joining us tonight. And hopefully we see you on the next premiere for itsashort.com.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye, guys.
See ya.